third graders. So, today we're going to start learning about telling time. We're going to spend the rest of our year of online learning about telling time. So, we're going to do two lessons about telling time this week. And then next week, we're going to do three more lessons about telling time. So, um, I just want to go over, start today with a review on some things that you should already know about telling time, just to refresh your memory, because it's not something that you do a whole lot, I don't think, since most of you are used to seeing a digital clock all the time. You're not used to seeing here what we call an analog clock as often anymore. So I'm going to give you a refresher, and then tomorrow we'll jump into some new content. So, what I want you to do for this activity is I'd like you to try, if you can, to have my video pulled up here in one tab. And if you can open another tab with the link that I gave you to the clock activity, the virtual clock, if you could open that in another tab and actually make that like a separate window on your device, that would be ideal. Now, you may need an adult to help you with this. If you're not able to figure that out and you can't have that open at the same time that you have my video open, then just watch the video first and then open the clock later. However, it's going to be better if you can have the clock open because I'm going to be having you work through some problems with me, and I'd like you to be able to actually manipulate your clock while the video is going so that I can help you and we can check, you can check your work against my answers, and it'll be a little bit easier for you and more interactive. So, what I'd like you to try to do if you can is get that popped up. So, like for example, I have the clock open here on the video. And what you would do is you would open a new tab, okay? And you would then go back into the your menu. And I don't have your menu completely made yet because I'm in the middle of making it right now. But what you would do is you would find the link to it, okay, wherever it would be, and you'd click on it, and you would open it in the new tab. So if you can try to do that, great. If not, it's okay. Just follow along with me. Okay, so clocks. Now, I want you to take a look here at this clock. Okay, clock has 12 numbers, starting with 12 all the way around, and it goes like this. This is the direction of the clock. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then back to 12. Now, every clock has at least two hands on it. We call these the hands of the clock. This green one and this orange one are two of the hands of the clock. Now, some clocks also have a third hand. Not all clocks will have this third hand. On this particular clock, the third hand is shown here. It's this blue line. Okay, so you will see if you have an analog clock at home, you might want to check to see if you have that third hand or not. We'll talk about what that hand is for. So, the most important hands are the two hands on the clock. We have a longer hand and we have a shorter hand. The longer hand is the minute hand. It moves on the clock every minute. So every 60 seconds, it moves. All right. And it moves by the time an entire hour has gone by, it has gone all the way around. So, for example, right now it's 1 o'clock. By the time it gets to 2 o'clock, this minute hand will have gone all the way around the clock one full time. And it's then a new hour. Now, this shorter hand is the hour hand. It moves much more slowly, okay? It does not go all the way around the clock in an hour. It only goes from one number to the next number in an hour. So it goes that short space. So let's take a look at how the hour hand moves from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So I'm actually going to move the minute hand. And I don't want you to watch the minute hand. I want you to watch what the hour hand does as I move the minute hand, because you're going to see that it's going to go more slowly. And after I move the minute hand all the way around, it's only going to have gone from the 2 to the 3. So watch that hour hand slowly move. Notice that I keep going around and around a full hour. And that hour hand has only gone from one number to the next. It does not move as quickly. Okay, so that's just a little bit of the basics and a refresher there. Now, um, these numbers, the 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those numbers indicate the hour. Okay, so 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and so on. However, they also represent something else. So, if you see all these little tick marks around the clock, these little black tick marks, okay, each of those tick marks stands for 1 minute. So when you go from the 12 to the 1, you have gone 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So from the 12 to the 1, you have gone 5 minutes. So this 1 also stands for 5 minutes. Okay. If I were to go from the 12 all the way to the 2, I would be counting 10 little tick marks. That would be 10 minutes. So this 2 also stands for 10 minutes. This 3 would stand for 15 minutes. So what I do is as I go around the clock and I jump to each number, the minutes go by fives. So this would be 5 minutes, which would make this 3:05. This is 10 minutes, which would make the time 3:10. This is 15 minutes, which would now make the time 3:15. 3:20. 3:25. Oops. 3:30. Sorry. 3:35. 3:40. 3:45. 3:50. 3:55. And now 4 o'clock. So every time the minute hand lands on the next number, it has gone 5 more minutes around the clock. So even though you don't see like the number 5 here and the number 10 and the number 15 and 20, you have to be able to learn how to kind of memorize that that's what also each of these numbers stands for, which is why telling time can be kind of tricky at times. Just because it's different than the math that you're used to doing, okay? Clocks stop at 12. It's kind of a weird number for them to stop at. And the numbers don't sometimes represent different things as well. So it can be a little bit of a challenge, but you guys got it. So as we go around the clock, now we're going to practice telling time with some of the times on the clock. So let's look here right now. Our minute hand is pointing to the 12, okay? And our hour hand is pointing directly at the 4. This tells me that it is exactly 4 o'clock, okay? It's exactly 4 o'clock. When the minute hand is on the 12 and the hour hand is directly on a number, that means that it's something o'clock. So in this case, I could move the hour hand to the 5 and the minute hand's up at the 12. That's 5 o'clock. If I move the hour hand down to the 6 and the minute hand is still on the 12, it is now 6 o'clock. So whenever the minute hand is directly on the 12, that tells you that it is exactly on the hour. 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. You get it, okay? Now, you're going to notice that on a clock, as the minute hand ticks by each minute of the hour hand is slowly going to move towards the next hour. So right now it is 6 o'clock because the minute hand is on the 12, the hour hand is on the 6. If I move this minute hand, okay, here to this 1, I have now gone 5 minutes past 6 o'clock because I was on 6 o'clock exactly. I went 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It is now 6:05. Okay. Now, interestingly, the hour hand has moved slightly past the 6. It's not exactly on the 6 anymore. The further past 6 o'clock we get, the further away from the 6 it's going to move, and the closer to the 7 the hour hand is going to move. So let's go to 6:10. Okay, it is now 6:10. The minute hand is 10 minutes past the hour. 5, 10. The hour hand is now creeping further away from the 6 o'clock. It is now 6:15. 5, 10, 15. The hour hand is now moving further away. What time would that be? Say to yourself what time you think it is. If you said 6:20, you are correct. 5, 10, 15, 20. This would be 6:25. This is 6:30, which is also half past 6 because it is halfway past 6 o'clock, and it is halfway to 7 o'clock. The hour hand is now right in between the 6 and the 7 because it is half past 6, 6:30. 6:35. What would that time be? Say to yourself what you think it would be. If you said 6:40, you are correct. This is 6:45. Now we're going to make a little bit of a bigger jump and let's see if you can figure out what this one would be. What time do you think that is? Now be careful. It kind of looks like the hour hand is on the 7 already, but it's not quite. It's so close to the 7, but it's just not quite there yet. It hasn't gotten to 7 o'clock yet. It's almost, but not quite. It is 6:55. This is 5 minutes past the hour, 10 minutes past the hour, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. It is 6:55. If I go all the way up here, I have now reached 7 o'clock. The hour hand is directly on the 7. The minute hand is right on the 12. So that's an overview of some of the things that you've already learned about time. I know in second grade you spent some time, learning about telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. So this shouldn't be brand new, but I imagine that it might be something that you need to refresh because you haven't spent a lot of time on it this year. Now, if you have an analog clock at your house and you look at it all the time and you're used to practicing telling time this way, then this might be really easy for you. But if you're not used to looking at an analog clock, it's going to take you a while to kind of get comfortable again with this. Now, I'm going to do a couple examples. I want you to play around with your clocks if you have them up, and build the time that I build, and then see if you can figure out what that time shows on your clock. If you can't do it because you don't have your clock pulled up next to my video, then just on a piece of paper, if I show you a time on my clock, just write down the time that you think it is, and then we'll review it in a minute. So let's try. If you have your clock up, I'd like you to build this time on it. If you don't have your clock up, on a piece of paper, write down what time you think this is. Okay. Feel free to pause the video if you need time to kind of think through it, because I want you to have a chance to do that. If you built this time on your clock, you would be able to easily see it shows you here that it is 9:05. It's slightly past the hour of 9 o'clock, and it is exactly 5 minutes past that hour. Here would have been 9 o'clock, 9:01, 9:02, 9:03, 9:04, 9:05. Okay? Now, if you have your clock up, I'm going to give you a time and I want you to try to make it on your clock. And I'm not going to show you mine yet. I want to see if you can figure it out. I want you to you already have 9:05. I want you to try to change the time to 9:30. See if you can figure out where 9:30 would go. Pause the video if you need time to do it. I'm going to show the answer. 9:30. Oops, looks like that. The hour hand is halfway between the 9 and the 10. It has not gotten to the 10 yet. And the minute hand has gone halfway around the clock, 30 minutes past the hour. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay? Now I'd like you to build another time on your clock if you have it pulled up. I'd like you to build 11:15 if you have your clock up. Pause the video to build it and then check your answer with mine. 11:15. Okay. Here is what 11:15 looks like. The hour hand is slightly past the 11. The minute hand is 15 minutes past the hour. 5, 10, 15. Okay. Now, you don't need to use your own clocks anymore. I'd just like you to have a paper and pencil out. I'm going to build a couple times, and I want you to write down what time you think it is on your paper and see if you're correct. Okay. So let's try this one. Write down on your paper what time you think that is. You probably will need to pause the video to process this for a minute because I'm going to share the answer right now. This time is 12:20. The hour hand is slightly past the 12, and it is 20 minutes past 12. 5, 10, 15, 20. It is 12:20, as you can see. Okay? All right, I'm going to build another time, and I want you to see if you can tell me what it is. Try that one. It's a little trickier. I'm going to give you a hint. The hour hand might look like it's at the 2, but be careful, okay? Because the minute hand has gone almost all the way around the clock already, which means that it's almost a new hour, but not quite yet. Pause the video if you can, so you can try to figure it out. Okay, it is actually 1:50. Okay, if you said 2:50, don't get confused. It's 1:50 because think about this. It started out on 1 o'clock, and the minute hand went almost all the way around. It's so close to the next hour, which is why that hour hand is so close to the 2, because it's almost 2 o'clock. So it's 1:50. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 1:50. Okay. Tomorrow, we will talk a little bit about what that third hand on the clock actually stands for. And we will practice telling time to the nearest minute tomorrow. So today we practiced telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. So we were a little stuck with something a little bit simpler. You need to go on the Google form. You're going to practice identifying some times on the clocks, and feel free to practice playing around with your digital clock on your computer first before you do that. You can even ask an adult at home to help you. They can give you some times, and you can practice making them on your clock. Or you can even ask them to make something on the clock, and you can practice telling the time. All right, good luck, boys and girls. See you tomorrow.